Thank you. That was something. I don't know what it was. I'd like to be an expert on the brain in some way, as so many of the presenters here have been, but I'm not. But I do have some fairly deep and intensive experiences with my own brain, which I'm going to describe to you in some way, since I've actually survived a certain particular peculiarity in the structure of my own brain, and a fairly intense neurosurgery to remove a tumor that I had in 1992. I'm not a depressive person by any stretch of the imagination, and I never was. And I had a 2 or 3 year long kind of descent, briefing for a descent into hell, some kind of depressive period that I could not really find my way out of. I had no idea why it was happening. It was very confusing to me because I was not a depressive person. And it was kind of capped by being on tour with a band overseas. And I was at the depth of a depression. I didn't know what depression was except seeing it in other people. So I was so confused that I really didn't know what to do. I couldn't think straight. I really had no sense of logic or any way to kind of see my way through this. On this tour that I was on, I wasn't feeling very well, was feeling less and less well, and I decided to take a day off on the tour. We were in southern Germany. I took a train to see a good friend of mine, Uli, in Aachen, in the Ardennes section of Germany. Take a day off in the countryside. We took a walk one night to this one night, walking down a beautiful country road. I'm trying to describe to him that I've never felt this way before in my life. And I very suddenly, within a 30 or 40 second period, I lost control of the right side of the muscles on the right side of my face. And my eye, I couldn't close or open my eye. And it was very, very quick. It happened from nowhere. And then within 30 or 40 seconds of that, the entire right side of my hearing just shut down. Not like being on a jet plane with a sinus infection or cold and you get that kind of dull, oh God, this is uncomfortable, I can't hear what anybody's saying, but total shutdown, including the fact that my nerve of balance seemed to suddenly fail. So I fell over. And the short of the story is that I left the tour. I went to the Frankfurt Research Center Hospital in Frankfurt, Germany. They wanted to admit me to change my blood supply over because they wanted me admitted so that they could do further testing. And in fact, they wanted first to change my blood supply over completely. This was 1992. And I thought this was a really bad idea to change my blood supply. They were actually, the first diagnosis was Horststürz, which means literally ear stress, and that is the first step that they were going to take. So I called my wife in New York and said, honey, I'm freaking out. Something's really wrong. So I have no balance. I feel uncomfortable. She said, can you fly? So I went to the doctors. They said, sure, you can fly. We'll give you a note and some help at the airport because you're going to be probably very uncomfortable. Took a plane back to New York, got stuck in customs for 5 hours, sitting on the floor because they wouldn't allow a very valuable instrument to go through customs with me, which I found incredibly strange. I was completely out of it. I couldn't think straight, so I sat on the floor, and I happened to sit there until one of the customs agents that I knew quite well, who was a fan of mine, came on shift, and he said, David, what the hell are you doing here? I said, I don't know, I don't feel well. I've got this note. The supervisor won't let me through with my instrument. I'm not leaving this one-of-a-kind guitar here at the airport. He fixed it for me. I went home. Short story is, They found in upstate New York, the first neurologist said, there's no infection, you don't have an ear infection, we need to do MRIs. They found a fairly large but very benign tumor on the right side of my head between the brain stem and the ear that was in some way extremely inflamed. I found somehow, amazingly, the best audiologist that I could have found in New York. They told me this is a brain tumor and this needs to be contended with right away. We went through the prepping for the removal of a brain tumor, which probably many of you are familiar with, but if it's you, the patient, who's doing it, it's quite a strange experience. You're walked through the OR, and every tool and every procedure is described to you, including, hopefully your life will be saved, but, they're going to screw your head to two metal plates. In 1992, I had a full, I can't remember what it's called. I'm not a scientist. I can't remember. But they had to break open the back of the skull and then rebuild it with titanium in order to get the tumor out. So this is a very strange experience for people, I think. And very strange. We thought, and you're walked through this process, and my doctor, the primary neurosurgeon, Joseph Ranshoff, was incredible, but he's also, at that time, was 76 years old. His hands literally shook. He chain smoked like you in his office, in the hospital, head of neurosurgery, this incredible, small, thin, hyper guy with $8,000 cowboy boots, nothing in his office but an ashtray filled up with butts. This is the guy that's going to save my life. And he did, but it's very odd to be in this situation. And in the offing, the operation was completely successful, except for the fact that I still have resulting, there's still after effects that I have to contend with on a daily basis. I've needed to pay attention to my brain, which I think is part of the reason why I'm here, for 20 some odd years now, including something that is very similar to seizures and an odd event. There's a yearly new event of some strange nature. However, I'm here, and I've spent the last 20 years talking specifically to musicians who lose their hearing, but also to young people. I was 39 at the time, young people, and helping them to get through a process that they usually feel they may not get through and might crush them. And I just wanted to thank everybody for letting me talk today. So.